Talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Accomplishment Coaching is proud to present the following fine programming. Accomplishment Coaching, where coaches lead and leaders coach. AccomplishmentCoaching.com.
Welcome to the Wealth Building Hour.
Hello, welcome to the Wealth Building Hour. This is Kevin Brown, your host, managing partner at RBTK, and we're a CPA and business advisory firm, and we like to help our clients navigate through their business and financial life. And here on the Wealth Building Hour, we like to help businesses, owners, entrepreneurs help navigate through their financial life. So today we're going to kind of navigate the financial security. And I think, pretty much everybody would agree financial security is important. And but, really, what does that look like? And today we're going to jump in to figure out what that looks like. And that's not going to be me helping tremendously on that. Actually, we have a great guest joining us who's really, his passion is financial security and transparency around that and accessibility to really good financial advice and security. And that gentleman joining us is Paul Hynes, who's founder and CEO of Hearthstone Private Wealth Management. And Paul, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Kevin. It's great to be here. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving.
I did. I didn't eat too much, but enough. Well, Paul, I don't really like to try to give a background of our guests because I always think they can do a better job than I can. So tell us what led you down the road of this whole idea of helping people in their financial life.
Sure. Well, basically, in my 33 years as a financial advisor, what I found is that no matter how much money someone has, their number one fear is losing it, right?
Yes.
Or outliving it, which is pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I've dedicated myself to helping people keep their safe money safe. And the safe money is what they've set aside to take care of themselves for the rest of their life. And for the last 11 years, I've served clients as an independent, objective financial advisor where we work solely for our clients and always in the client's best interests. And I'm sure we're going to get into that a little bit more later. Yeah.
And so kind of that safe advice, maybe dive into that a little bit when you say the safe advice, what you mean there, and kind of help. You were probably going to jump to that. But
the pain of losing money is far more powerful than the joy of gaining money. So what we try to do is limit the losses. Of course, we're looking to gain enough so people keep ahead of inflation, achieve their goals, but we're not trying to be speculative or take outsized risk and try to keep their safe money safe.
Right. Kind of go with the market, not try to outdo it. Is that kind
exactly
of
right? Yeah. If we could just capture the market, most people would be very successful with that kind of outcome. Certainly not trying to beat the market.
Yeah. And well, because, do you find that as you've worked in this over the last 33 years, I think you said, that it's in essence really possible as most individual advisor or individual investors and things like that to really outguess, outbeat, out nail the market in that sense?
Well, what we've found is that over the long run, no one has really proven that they've been able to do that. Like we try to say, the Market Timing Hall of Fame is sparsely attended. So I don't think there's anybody in there at this point. But
yeah, kind of like it was like the statement somebody gave. They said Tony Gwynn got to the Hall of Fame hitting singles. Now,
exactly.
Some people get there hitting home runs too, but right. You can do it hitting singles.
Yeah, we like the Tony Gwynn approach.
Yeah. Well, Paul, what's in that idea of kind of security and transparency? I noticed when I was looking at your information on your website, you talked about that transparent and really accessible financial advice and security. Tell us a little bit about that and kind of what that looks like, of that transparent and accessible.
Sure. Well, we start from the aspect that most financial services is very murky and confusing. And it's murky in a way that a lot of people don't know what they're paying for services or for products, or they don't know how their advisor's getting paid. It's confusing because there's a lot of terminology and acronyms that people aren't familiar with. So it's our job to simplify things. First thing we do is we make it very transparent. Clients know exactly what they're paying, how they're paying, and how we're getting paid. And the second thing is we avoid the fancy terminology and acronyms and just use common language so people can really understand what we're talking about.
So it's really helping to simplify it, right? Not make it too complex. I mean, throwing out all the hedge funds and
Right.
all the other type of things. Is that kind of fair?
Life today is complex enough, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
They don't need to add any more complexity, and we don't need to add any more complexity. So we keep it very simple, keep it straightforward and clear so people can... What we've found is people like to be understood, and they like to understand things. So we try to make sure that they do understand what's going on.
Well, and I like what you said, they like to be understood. Let's delve into that a little bit as people coming in, maybe, they don't understand really well a lot of things. They know maybe they need to save money, they need to put it away. Maybe at some level know they need to be in the market, but they don't understand it. And so maybe they want to be understood in what their goals or objectives are. Is that kind of what you're looking? When you said that, that caught me.
That's very much a big part of it. And people tend to have goals, so we try to understand those goals and help them articulate those goals and then design everything around achieving those goals. We had a recent... a couple came in recently, and they had some money to invest, and we asked them what their goals were, and they said, well, we don't know. We haven't really thought about it. So we actually sent them away with homework. Think about your goals and try to come up with articulation of what you really wanted to accomplish, then come back and talk to us.
Interesting. And will you help kind of walk through what things they maybe should consider and that type of things, or things they should be focused on, or give them
We
some
did try
idea?
to give them some suggestions on timelines, when might you want to stop working or do certain things. And they had some general ideas, but it wasn't quite clear enough in their mind, and it wasn't clear enough to us that we felt like we could do a good job for them.
Yeah, I guess because if they don't know their objectives, then how can that work, or how does it work for you if you still try to give them advice? Does it end up being more problems than it does success because they don't know? So when results happen, there's no really understanding of where you're going?
Yeah, it's hard for us to focus on a true path that we think is the right path for them if we don't have an objective in mind. It's like if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there.
Well, exactly, and their goals are not yours, right? I mean, it's,
Yeah, everybody's different.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing that we do with our clients in business and tax advice that we give them is, it's not important what I think is a good objective or what I think is a good tax approach or whatever else. It's really trying to help them understand and help me understand what they're trying to achieve in whatever they're doing in their business. Then we can fit something in to get there. I mean, I'm more than happy to tell them what risks are and giving them suggestions. But it's not important what I might do. It's important where they want to get to.
Right.
And then I can help them get there.
And imagine how powerful it can be if the CPA as an advisor and the financial advisor and the other advisors all work together towards the same goals for the client.
Absolutely.
That can be pretty powerful.
That can be real powerful. It's I'm sure both of us have examples where that doesn't happen, and it usually does. It certainly doesn't work out the best, right? Maybe things go along, but it's certainly not collaborative and timing well, and maybe there's a little straighter path in getting there.
Right, like the people in the boat on the river. If they're not pulling exactly in the same rhythm in the same direction, then the boat's not going to go in a straight line. It's certainly not going to win the race. So.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. Do you find that being a kind of an important part of your process as you're going through with your clients to really understand who are other parties and advisors they work with and trying to team with, again, them to get to their objectives?
Absolutely. We think that's really important. It's not only important to work together, we like the fact that other advisors are looking over our shoulder and see what we're doing, and we're also helping the client understand maybe what the tax advisor has said or the attorney has said. So everybody's working together, and we think that is optimal for the client.
I agree. It's hard enough to do things on our own, right, and operate in a vacuum, and getting that collaborative effect that two heads may be better than one, and I certainly don't know investments. I may know it more than some people and things just because I'm around financial things, but I'm not going to pretend that I know all those things. Why not get the person that they're working with to team up and understand what each of us are doing? And I think the clients ultimately notice that has value.
I think they do, and if they see that one of the advisors is resistant to that, I think that might be a little bit of a red flag.
Certainly a question, right?
Certainly the question should be raised and maybe look into it a little bit deeper.
Well, do you find, I guess, what do you, I think we're hitting what are some of the benefits, but what are some of the benefits about this transparency and kind of the focus that you've taken?
Like I said, people like to be understood and they like to understand what's going on. So that's the big benefit is they know somebody's not really understanding them, more than just at the surface level, down deep into what their true goals are. Another thing is that people don't like to be sold stuff. So so we don't sell stuff, we just help people.
Well,
and I'm sure we're going to get into that more later.
As we go, and we're coming up on the break. As we talked about before, it comes fast. What I like, too, about what you're saying is I think the better that the client is educated, the better the process can work, because the more they know and understand, the better then they can help fine-tune their goals and sharpen them. Because, well, like I said, it's coming up quick. Well, we reached our first break, and again, we have joining us Paul Hynes, founder and CEO of Hearthstone Private Wealth Management, and we'll be back shortly for our second segment here on the Wealth Building Hour, the worldwide leader in Internet talk.
A podcast or radio show on WS Radio is a great way to create content marketing. Turn prospects into customers into raving fans. Contact Wade at WSRadio.com or call 866-WS-RADIO.
One person has the power to change the world, impact millions of lives, and leave a legacy for lifetimes to come. That person is you. In the New York Times bestseller, What is Your What? Steve Olsher, award-winning author and founder of the Reinvention Workshop, reveals his proven process that has helped thousands of men and women discover, share, and monetize the one thing they were born to do. Grab your free copy now at www.whatisyourwhat.com/free. That's www.whatisyourwhat.com/free.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine, and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
I raised $8,000 to build schools for South African children.
After realizing how many people go hungry in San Diego, I now volunteer at a food pantry.
I'm spending the next year doing volunteer projects across 3 countries and helping in ways they designate to be the most helpful.
The WorldLink program at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice recognizes the potential of youth as agents of social change. Learn how you can help youth become a generation of leaders in action at peace.sandiego.edu.
Small businesses are the lifeblood of America's economy. Every Thursday, SBA Radio interviews industry professionals and is dedicated to provide small businesses with timely insights and innovations. Visit www.sbaradio.us for details.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, CEO and founder of VinVillage.com and the Wine and Dine Show on VinVillage Radio. Do you have a wine, event, product, or service to promote? Then contact VinVillage.com to reach thousands of wine lovers across the country. VinVillage connects like-minded wine enthusiasts with unique and exclusive wines, events, products, and services. To learn more, contact us on VinVillage.com. VinVillage is where wine lovers connect.
Hi, Scale listener. This is David Finkel, co-host with Jeff Hoffman of Scale Your Business Radio. I wanted to let you know that our newest book, Scale, was just released and encourage you to get your copy. The book will give you 7 proven principles to grow your business and get your life back. It's for every entrepreneur who ever wondered if they really own their business or if their business owns them. It'll help you to work less by getting your business to produce more. Get your copy online or at your local bookseller. For more information, go to scaleyourbusinesstoolkit.com.
Talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Accomplishment Coaching is proud to present the following fine programming. Accomplishment Coaching, where coaches lead and leaders coach. AccomplishmentCoaching.com.
Welcome back to the Wealth Building Hour.
Well, welcome back to our second segment here on the Wealth Building Hour. This is Kevin Brown, your host, managing partner at RBTK, and we're a CPA business advisory firm, and you can learn more about what we do every other day of the month that I'm here, not here, which is only one day of the month. And but you can learn more about us by visiting our website at www.rbtk-cpa.com. And today we have joining us Paul Hynes, founder and CEO of Hearthstone Private Wealth Management, and we're talking about financial security. And you can learn more about what Paul and his team is doing at Hearthstone by visiting their website, which is hearthstoneinc.com. And just in case if it's not Heart, it's Hearth, Hearth, hearthstoneinc.com. Well, Paul, in the first segment, we were kind of talking about the whole concept of that transparent advice and security around financial investment. And we were kind of talking about the approach that advisors should take. And I happened to peruse your website, and I saw some things that you speak on, and have shared with folks over the years. And one of them was, that caught my eye, was 3 things financial advisors don't want you to know. So when I think about things people don't want me to know, I kind of like to know what I need to know. So why don't you share a little bit about what that is and maybe what those 3 things are, and kind of let's delve into that.
I just wanted to add, it is Hearthstone, but we do put our heart in everything we do.
Great.
So one of the things that I think is really important for people to understand is that there's really 2 different types of financial advisors out there, and they're subject to 2 totally different standards of care. So that's not commonly known, and that's one thing that most financial advisors don't want to be commonly known. And let me explain the differences, and I think that might make it a little bit more clear. You can take all the financial advisors out there, everyone that has that term financial advisor on their business card, and that really means nothing. It means that they're in the financial services industry. You can divide them into one of 2 groups. You have advisors who are affiliated in any way with a brokerage firm, put them in one group. And then you have advisors who aren't, and you put them in the other group. And the reason why that distinction is important, because if you're a financial advisor affiliated with a stock brokerage firm, they call them registered representatives. The standard of care that they're held to when they're dealing with their clients is called suitability. And what does suitability mean? Suitability, obviously, what the word infers is that the advice has to be suitable based on the facts and circumstances. However, it also means that the product that they're advising the client to use may pay the advisor a higher commission than something else that might be available. Or it might be a product that's been manufactured by the firm that the advisor works for. They call them proprietary products, which makes more money for the firm. Or it may be a product that is subject to a short-term sales contest or promotion. So all those things would be okay as long as the advice is still suitable. So you're laughing.
Well, my first thought is suitable to who? Yeah.
Right. So that, and let's contrast with the standard of care on the other side. So the advisors who aren't related to a stock brokerage firm, and that would be Hearthstone, for example, and other advisors like us, the standard of care that we're held to is called the fiduciary standard of care. And the term fiduciary may not be familiar to everybody. What it means is that your number one duty is to the client. You must take the client's best interests first and above your own. You have a duty of due diligence, so you have to do your homework. So it really puts the focus on the client, and the client's interest above your own. So all those things I talked about that would be okay under the suitability standard are definitely not okay under the fiduciary standard.
Interesting. Maybe, and I apologize if you probably had more to add to that, but what hits me is, and I'm sure there's good brokers out there, right, and they give good advice, but why wouldn't they be held to the fiduciary standard? Is there some reason they don't have to be held to that versus an independent person like yourself?
Yes, and it all goes back to why those brokerage firms are in business for the first place. So you think back to it, way back to the beginning of the country's formation. Railroads were being built, roads were being built, banks were sprouting up from nothing. All those entities need to raise capital. So the brokerage firms at the beginning of our country were just selling stocks and bonds to investors to raise money for capitalism. They didn't necessarily want to take into account, would this stock or bond be the best thing for this particular investor? They're just they're a distribution system for the capitalist system. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but that's the beginning.
Kind of their main objective was to raise capital, in essence.
Right, and their clients, in effect, were the banks and the railroads, not the investors.
Okay, interesting.
And oftentimes they would take the stocks and bonds into their own inventory and then resell them to clients later on. And when you're a principal like that, you cannot be a fiduciary because your interests are certainly higher than the person who's on the other end, just like a car dealer, for example.
Yeah, now I guess I see a little bit that difference. I'm sure they're regulated, but their objectives can be a little bit different, and they have their own product they're selling, so they can't necessarily be a fiduciary. I'm sure they can offer other products, right? They can, but like you said, there may be objectives of why they'd rather sell their product than somebody else's.
Absolutely. There could be conflicts between the firm's interests and the investor's interests. There could be conflicts between the broker or the advisor's interests and the client's interests, and those conflicts are there, and they really can't be removed in the current system. So what happened a number of years ago is when the rules say that if you're offering advice, the advice must be given from a fiduciary standpoint, and they came up with a ruling a number of years ago. It's actually called the Merrill Lynch rule, that as long as the advice is incidental to the overall relationship, then you don't have to behave as a fiduciary.
It's interesting. So the difference is, as a person under a fiduciary response, you are giving advice. You're there to give advice. That's more or less your first objective, and then execution of that advice to different investments is kind of the second piece. Whereas in a brokerage firm, they're not really holding themselves out necessarily to be giving advice. They're there to provide a service, which is help you get some investments into your portfolio or whatever.
That's a pretty good explanation. And I think another way to think of it is the advisors who are not affiliated with the brokerage firm, like Hearthstone, we don't have any products on the shelf. There's nothing, because we're not. That's not our job. Our job is to provide advice, financial planning advice, investment advice. There usually has to be a broker in the relationship, but it's a vendor relationship to both the client and to us as the advisor.
Yeah, that's where you're maybe using whoever it is to...
Like Charles Schwab or TD Ameritrade or Fidelity or somebody like that.
To execute.
To execute the trades.
Yeah, to go get the various... After you give the advice of here's how you're... Well,
right.
How do you do that in the sense of then you're looking at here's the objective, here's the goals, now here's what we think is a good plan to implement. Is that fair? Maybe
it's also important to understand the way the relationships are. So in the situation with a non-broker affiliated advisor like us, we have a contract directly with the client. Contrast that with the relationship on the brokerage side. The client has a contract with the brokerage firm. The employee, the advisor, also has a contract with the brokerage firm. So the employee's main responsibility is to whom?
Right.
To the brokerage firm. And the brokerage firm's main responsibility is to whom? The shareholder. Right?
Right.
So you can understand that relationship,
that dynamic, and the relationship.
Whereas in our case, we have a direct contract with the client. That's the only contract we have. The client also opens up accounts at whatever firm. In our case, we use Charles Schwab, but it could be Schwab, TD Ameritrade, Fidelity. They open up the account at the firm, and then they give us the authority to make investment decisions on their behalf by executing the transactions through that brokerage firm.
Great. Well, and And I jumped in with these questions, and there were 3 things that you wanted to share. And I don't know that I gave, and we've got a couple minutes before the next break. Why don't you go ahead and share the 3 things, and I'll try to shut up and let you get through them.
Well, that was certainly the biggest one. There are the 2 others I'll mention. I'll just mention them briefly. I'm not sure we're going to be able to get into them in depth, but a lot of advisors have certain letters after their names on their business card. Might be CFP, which is a Certified Financial Planner, which is a very meaningful designation, but not all those designations are meaningful. And there are over 200 different designations available for financial advisors, and really 5 of them have the highest level of meaning. There's certainly a number of them, maybe 30 to 40, that have significant meaning, but that means there's quite a few that don't. So that's the other secret that I think most people aren't aware of. Just because there's 3 letters after someone's name, you have to dive in a lot deeper
than that. What would be maybe those, I think you said there's 5 that you think are would I say the critical ones, or would be good ones, at least if somebody has those, gives a client some level of comfort?
The 2 that I think have the most meaning are CFP, Certified Financial Planner, and that's a program that takes years and years of study. It's a long 1.5 day exam, not quite as hard as the CPA exam, I'm imagining, but it was very difficult for me. And then you have to do a lot of continuing education, 30 hours of continuing education every 2 years, 2 hours of ethics included in that. It's a very high level of requirements at the beginning, and then maintenance requirements as you go on. Certified Financial Planner is certainly one of them. Chartered Financial Analyst, CFA, is even more, it's even harder than CFP. 3 tests. Each one takes a couple of years of study.
Wow.
It's a lot of detail work about financial analysis and analyzing companies. So those 2 I think are the most powerful.
They're the powerful ones, and you timed that well. You hit the financial mark, because we're going to be hitting the break, as we see right here. So, well, again, we have Paul Hynes joining us from Hearthstone, and we will be back for our 3rd segment here on the Wealth Building Hour on WS Radio, the worldwide leader in Internet talk.
Nowadays, internet devices are an integral part of your home. Everyone in your family has a smartphone, tablet, or a computer. Life is easier knowing that all your devices are secured and your family can surf the internet carefree. ESET Multi-Device Security Pack does just that. One license for all your devices. With ESET, it's simple to stay protected and save money. Enjoy safer technology with ESET Multi-Device Security Pack at ESET.com. That's ESET.com.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine, and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
Tired of presentations with no impact, no inspiration, and no traction? Do dull speakers have you and your team disengaged and distracted by smartphones? Christopher McAuliffe brings energy, insights, and 2 decades of experience, delivered with punch, humor, and heart. Your team will leave energized, uplifted, and with a sense of purpose. Visit ChristopherMcAuliffe.com to bring some heat to your next speaking engagement. McAuliffe. ChristopherMcAuliffe.com.
This is Bill Gruber with BizVid Communications, a Southern California video production leader. We've been honored to sponsor, produce, write, and host many of the fine programs on WS Radio over the years. So we understand how important the internet and your website exposure are. As video producers, we know the tricks and secrets to incorporate video to increase your search engine optimization and business success. Visit bizvidcommunications.com to see what we can do for you. BIZVID communications.com.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the coaches training program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.